eating legs and heads of goats. It's on page 83 of this book. So I read, I'm very sure that you already know that the Nyagenkians don't grow meat in their farms. So it goes without saying that growing up in Nyagenke disadvantaged my teeth from frequent interaction with meat. There are these two lumberjacks who once cooked a kakwota and put 24 pilipilis. They also cooked a mountain of ugali that needed one to go around it to see who was at the other side of the plate. When I approached them, they promptly told me to join them in flattening the mountain. I washed my hands faster than you can imagine, and my caterpillar-like fingers plowed through the hot mountain. I rolled a piece that would have easily passed for a ball and went for the meat that I was sure was under the sea of red soup. The experience nearly cut my tongue, and I knew these old men were playing with me. Well aware that I was not sure of my next encounter with the meat, I fought back the bitterness of the soup, which did magic to my eyes and made them release tears enough to clean the entire body of a young Nyagenkian. On my way home, I told myself, in future, when I become a big person with big money, I will eat meat anytime I want. When I became a big person with enough money to buy my kakwota, people said that meat was bad and I should avoid it if I wanted to live longer. So I've been competing with goats and hens in eating sukuma mwaka and other assorted leaves. But I will tell you something about birenges, heads, tongues, and intestines green soup, aka ochuri. Remember, for every piece of meat you eat, an animal became past tense. I have been faking success, saying if I want to eat meat, I eat meat and not things which look like meat. But I have since learned that before they boil this thing, which is a first cousin of meat, they burn it and cut it into small, sizable sizes. Then they boil them as if these neighbors of meat are metals. When the head of or a leg of a past tense cow comes to the table, it looks very humble, like a fried stone of a hen. At the table, there is salt for you to add. Then there is also pepper in a plate, and the owner is more than willing to add you something which looks like hot but loose dung. As you tell your body pole, the guy keeps you entertained with a story about nothing. Near you is another person devouring his share mercilessly. The guy has been there, but you have not been seeing him because of the smoke, which is completing the picture. When you are done, you pay something like 50 shillings, yet what you were served was sufficient to feed 10 muscular men who have just pulled the Nyagenke Express bus out of a muddy trench. You throw a smile to nobody in particular as you return your change into the pocket and walk out of the Nyagenke Hotel, of the Hilton Hotel, Nyagenke branch. This book, if you take this copy, I reduce the money in your pocket by 600. Thank you, and thank you.
Tears that tear, dedicated to university students and all those people who went to university but they ended up coming home with nothing. Staggers he, straying in the village. Everything now has become a mirage. Folks look and folk in anger. Everything now has become a blunder. Firstborn son, a son from the soil, a son from the sun. Dad foiled his hands, sold his land for son to study. Son went to university, buried in books, prioritized boobs. Everything now terrible mirage. Daddy at home, dating for son, manual jobs, money to son. Mommy to son, money to sin. Deep in their minds, son was keen. Son in haste became a waste. Buried in wastes, many a teat became his treat. His one-eyed snake roared in rage and consumed the virus that burnt his balls. Son from the sun, a fame turned shame. The mother now cries, tears that tear. Thank you.
When we leave out of Babylon and go, we meet a lot of challenges. The migrant's fate, in the crucible of poverty's chain, we are born, where struggle's ember forever cast its mourn. Parents toil ceaseless for me and kin. Scarce lessons guide where dreams begin. I vowed to rise above this endless plight, and like siblings, accepting fate's dark night, they clung to want their world constrained. But I, unyielding, a better life ordained. My path, a maze of scammers, deceit, and twists, crossing borders, chasing dreams I kissed. Tinder's fleeting love, a quest to find. Yet few will help me leave the past behind. I crossed the continent where hope's whisper gleam, bearing the weight of an immigrant's dream. Harsh conditions, labor as my daily home. With steadfast heart, outseek the dreams of a new home. In Poland, where hope began to wane, I toiled and wept through hardship's rain. Yet the fire in my heart could not be ignored. To Germany's embrace, my dreams soared. Was it love I sought, or a brighter dawn? With papers to a future, dreams reborn? The question hangs heavy, my heart's quiet plea. For love's tender touch, or convenience's decree. Off to Denmark, I raced on vows profound, a future promising on love's hallowed ground. For love, it might bloom or remain a mist, crossing borders again with hope tightly cased. Life's river wind, our stories unfold, with dreams shimmering like promises of gold, love and convenience walking hand in hand, guiding us to futures in a faraway land. Thank you.
The sky-hot cockroach. Now, before the learned, the cockroach defied possession. Hate pedaled on it as the goosey grazed the feet with a dance. The cockroach, uninvited, grazed it too, dancing with the finest, yet minute, but sharing the best with the best. Is it not with similar agility, determination, even at it risked being trodden by sweating dancers? But a blind eye it gave out and remained, sharing the greatness of the evening, though despised. Should we from nature not learn? Face and dare like the sky hot cockroach. Now, it reminded me, it also took me back to the time I was growing up. And we used to chant certain words. Then and even now, maybe I will need to understand some of the meaning of this, but the entertainment in them cannot be ignored. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to just invite you to my childhood memory that was triggered by nature that has blessed us with this wisdom this evening. I'll say it in my mother tongue, Gikuyu. And this is how it goes. We used to say, wetagwo atia shegere shema, shema shema oge, oge oge matira, matira matira nyeje, nyeje nyeje waire, waire waire oreda, eda daya morogi, morogi morogi shiare, haya shiare, shiare gatara, gatara gatara hogo, hogo hogo kingo, kingo kingo era igoro, igoro igoro rea mweri na jata. A loose translation of the same. What is your name? Shegere Shema. What about Shema? Stealthy wisdom. What about wisdom? Wisdom stratified, like the cockroach. What about stratified? Strata cockroach. What about cockroach? Cockroach waire. What about waire? Waire with a stomach. What about a stomach? Stomach of a witch. What about the witch? The witch. Which were? What about which were? They were in a nest. What about the nest? The nest of a hawk. What about the hawk? The naked hawk. What about the nakedness? Naked in the sky. What about the sky? The sky of the moon and the stars. Thank you so much.
Natanguliza kalima, salamu alaikum. Nawaomba kwa heshima nipani yanu taimu. Ndio mie nimesimama kuwapa zangu salamu. Kutoka Lamu kwa mama, amu yetu ilo tamu. Ilotamu ni usafiri wa kipunda na maboti. Kisiwani hamna gari, ni jahazi za mlingoti. Zote hizi si hatari, kwani haziendi shoti. Hii ndio yetu fahari, kwetu Lamu Ilotamu. Ilotamu ni vyakula, mahamri na vitumbua, bokoboko mtakula, bahajia na halua. Kuna mkate wa sinila, kahawatungu ni shua. Mapishi bora ni mila, yetu amu Ilotamu. Ilotamu ni samaki, yedatasi na kiboma. Pweza naye tamu haki, anajua kulinda boma. Twamfanya mshikaki na makaani kumchoma. Ujapo kuwa shabiki wa ya amu Ilotamu. Ilotamu ni mahaba, upatayo huko Lamu. Mwajua Omar Sihaba, atiavo wengi hamu. Tapewa mo kwa sharoba, kutoka kwa Mariamu. Mapenzi yatakukaba, huko Lamu Ilotamu. Ilotamu ni tamaduni, shereheni na mavazi. Zipodera na gauni, zivutazo walowezi. Twaichezea mkunguni, ngoma ya kirumbizi. Baula kete fukweni, mchezo amu Ilotamu. Ilotamu ni visiwa, huko Manda na Rasini. Pate shanga utavua, na starehe matondoni. Kiwayu sawa na Kilwa, wapo wengi kwa Bajuni. Shela mahali murua, pasi amu Ilotamu. Ilotamu ni hatima ya utungo huu wangu. Nimefika Kaditama, ninaondoka wenzangu. Chiriku simi kalima, kakijaza changu chungu. Ndimi wenu Mwangichuma, toka Lamu Ilotamu. Shukran.
Pautene tene muno, pai mwathani weta wa sio Kimau, na sio Kimau ni wona maundu makekeka matanekeka. Na muthenya umwe atabyandu eona nzoka ya chuma yukite yumite okangani, na nzoka esu ikuite mundu utekikonde utemau nakuwa mwaki na ngusu. Nando metela mone mundu usu, mone nzoka esu yae maisa umila sio Kimau etwa nando aingi mathela, lakini ila nzue niwesie kumila ukamba na oka aweta ngewa yake. Masaku edukisya na etandu na meati kindu kiu ni uye kikatate kwisila ukamba wa Masaku. Ila wesie usungia nzue ni amwiyati konza. Can you repeat that after me? Konza monopyo utungite una kithekani kulagumanya mwila ingi. Karibuni. Tomorrow you can take a look at the railway line as it crosses to the wilderness where all the other animals are.
We all saw him. In fact, we had all admired the valiant hero that he was. He was serving in the Kenya Defense Forces, risking his very life, playing hide and seek with death himself, looking him in the eye and cursing him to die. He cheated death in the bitter battlefield, only to come home to find an empty and cold house. His beautiful young wife had left him for a better man. Her counsel had served him the disdainful divorce papers and the results of a pathetic paternity test showing that he had not sired their 2-year-old son. For a couple of months, he drowned what had remained of his life in the bottle. We talked about how lost and lonely he looked, and then we woke up to nauseating news that he had fatally fallen on the road after a long night of senseless drinking. His tired soul had found rest at last in death's loving arms. We all saw her and talked about how unfairly fate had dealt her. 3 failed marriages, 4 fatherless children. Forgetting our not so blissful unions, we observed and noted as she struggled and strained, a failed business, a poorly paying job. Things were tough. We sympathized with how she hardly got things done. Tuition fees, food, rent. I could have given her a better job. Probably you could have had her stay in that house you bought your son, who is cohabiting with your age mate, many miles away from home. The news came sooner than later and spread fast like a wildfire through the locality. Unable to cope, she had caved in and poisoned her poor kids and gulped a whole glass of the devilish drink herself. The struggle was over. She could now rest. We heard it all whispered, how his grades were struggling, his deeply disturbing antisocial tendencies. We were grateful that our own truant kids had company. We saw him high, moving from one extreme to another, shifting between euphoria and deadly depression. We exchanged looks when he slashed his bony wrists and thought little could change after they put him in rehab. We shed a few tears as his casket was being lowered after he had jumped to his death from the rooftop of that skyscraper on that fateful afternoon. He had ultimately ended his pain. He had numbed his sore soul. He had ended the need for our pity. It was time for another hot topic. He was gone. And there are many more like them. We need to stop the whispers and talk about solutions. Talk loudly about their problems. We need to stop the false feeling of gratitude that it is not happening to us. Stand up for someone. Be there for someone. The end.